Hello. So, long time no see, but I feel like I just have to talk about what just unfolded in front of all of us this morning. Truly the most unexpected, and in my opinion, the most wildest move of the offseason so far, so let's get into it. Shams reported that the Hornets are trading LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to Minnesota for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round pick swaps 2028, 2029, 2030, and 3 second round picks 2029, 2032, and 2033. Like, I knew Shams reported the night before that the Hornets were, listening to offers because there were so many aggressive requests and packages, but, looking at this deal, I feel like they could have just kept the phone shut. They didn't really have to answer because this is not ideal, I have to say. Well, first, let's start off with how this benefits Minnesota because I feel like this is an A for them. I mean, a lot of the conversation surrounding this Timberwolves team was trying to find that point guard, and now they have it. I mean, sure, it cost a lot of picks to get him, but if you watched any of the Hornets games, you could just see the playmaking impact he has, how much he elevates guys on the floor, how much he'll make things easier for Ant. And man, I know like Gobert and whoever does catch and shoot in Minnesota, whether it be McDaniels, Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., he might get some more catch and shoot opportunities as well. Like, I know whoever's in those slots and roles, they're gonna be pleased because now they have someone who is not like the best floor general per se, but he's up there talent-wise. Again, before the 2025 to 26 season, a lot of narrative was around LaMelo Ball and his step backs and how he's not contributing to a winning team. Yet, when the season happened, we saw that he proved all of that wrong. But a lot of Charlotte's game plan and team identity was built around ball movement. And trust me, The Rock was moving a ton when Ball was on the court. I believe they were ranked in the top 15 for assists per game. Yeah, losing Naz Reid hurts. I know so many of the Timberwolves fan base was looking forward to him stepping up in that starting power forward slot. However, when we just look at LaMelo's overall offensive skill set, I think this is worth the risk. I honestly think it's worth those first rounders. Yeah, you were kind of worried about the injury concerns, but when we look at this past season, he pretty much achieved his second most games played in his career. I believe it was around the 70 games played range, so that's highly reassuring. You might worry about the defense, but then again, you have Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Jalen Clark, and Chris Finch can be known to be somewhat of a defensive specialist, so I'm sure LaMelo will be fine within the system. And he also has a good knack for steals, so it's not like he's a total traffic cone or anything. And to wrap things all off, I mean, he's also a pretty underrated driver as well. I know Ant is now gonna have more responsibility when it comes to driving towards the rim, but LaMelo, as we've seen throughout the season, throughout his career, especially those last couple plays against Miami in the play-in tournament, he can attack the basket pretty efficiently. And I cannot wait whenever he gets in the pick and roll with Rudy because it doesn't always have to be alley-oops. That floater of his is so deadly. So defenses will have to start guessing whether he really wants to throw an alley-oop to Rudy or if he's trying to float something to the rim, because I feel like Melo has mastered that art of whenever he releases a shot, it looks like it's either going to be an assist or a made basket to keep the defense guessing. So, and I also believe this also helps the development of Joan Berenjay. Now, they might wonder what they're going to do with the power forward spot. Maybe they might move Jaden McDaniels down to the 4, or they snag someone in free agency, maybe make another trade, who knows what's in the works. But yeah, this is an A for Minnesota. This fills a dire need, and LaMelo has proven the winning narrative around him to be false. He's shown he can impact winning. He's shown he can impact the whole Charlotte team because he is their offensive engine, which makes me transition to Charlotte. What on earth, man? I mean, if this is the package you're gonna get for LaMelo, you might as well, I said it earlier, you might as well just hung up the phone. Look, Naz Reid is gonna help a ton with the big man depth. Kalkbrenner, Diabate, Naz Reid, that's really solid, right? I believe they already added Steinbach as well. And sure, you'll still have something special with Brandon Miller, Con Kneppel. However, the offense is just going to be so much more tougher to execute because LaMelo attracted so much attention. Kneppel and Miller, Bridges, whoever in the Charlotte offense, I don't think they're going to get completely stifled because a lot of the Hornets' offensive game plan was ghost screens, and ghost screens is one of the toughest screen actions to guard in the NBA. But they are going to get a lot more predictable in my opinion. Sure, they can re-sign Kobe White now. I believe they have a lot more in cap space. And Kobe White can help a ton, but in terms of playmaking overall, that's just not a lot. There's just, you now lose such a valuable trait within your team identity. There's only so much ghost screens can get you so far if you don't have that talented facilitator. Because yes, he can be inefficient shooting wise, but just the threat of his presence, just his presence alone, that is enough to keep the defenders on their toes. And again, maybe in the offseason, Brandon Miller, Knebel, Kobe White, they can work on their games. But I don't know, man. I feel like this allows opposing defenses to clump more, or like to allow them to provide an extra defender to shut down the lanes, to provide that extra help, whether on the nail or just simply double teaming them. Because yeah, man, I mean, those alley-oops, those cross-court passes, they can't be taken for granted. I know the new front office, maybe they took a look at this offensive system that Coach Lee brought out. Maybe they came to the conclusion that, you know, this high-quality ball movement is not just LaMelo, it's also, you know, the culture of building, you know, team identity that's coming from the system itself. Doesn't matter who you are, everyone's going to share the rock. But no, the big part of that was LaMelo, like a really big part of that. Yeah, you still have a lot of people on this Hornets roster that can still knock it down from long range, but because opposing teams will now have an easier time honing in on Miller and White, Knebel as well, I mean, I just feel like I feel like things are gonna get tougher. I have to give this one kind of a D because at least, you know, who knows what will happen in 2033 and 2032, right? And Naz Reid is a really solid player. Maybe you can swap Miles Bridges for a point guard or another offensive player, but my goodness, man, this is, I don't know. I felt like there were, if you still wanted to trade him, because yes, there is that belief that this is a sell high moment, or you might not trust Ball to be this healthy as he was this past season, but if you still wanted to give him away, there had to be much better offers than this. Not to mention, you're adding Josh Green to this deal too. I know it's to make the salaries match, but I believe Josh Green was like the second best 3-point shooter on this Hornets squad behind Knebel. I mean, he was just that efficient, especially in the corner. I mean, that's another thing now for Minnesota. You have another quality role player. He can fit in any system, he can defend, he can jump for offensive rebounds. I mean, that was a big part of Charlotte's identity. Everyone was gunning for those offensive boards. And yeah, just another 3-point threat that could fit well with LaMelo because he played with him before. So that's just another thing. Also, one last thing I want to touch base on. I don't know what the rules are for those pick swaps. Who owns what? From what I've seen on Reddit, seems like Charlotte is only favorable of 1 or 2 of those pick swaps. That's the thing. If you're aiming to be good, which I'm hoping that's what the front office envisions, and the team you just dealt Melo to has been a contender for quite some time now, if that trend continues, the best pick you're going to get from those swaps is honestly within like the 15-20 range. Also, like, for those pick swaps, how did you not, like, I'm sorry if this sounds too harsh or blunt, but how did you not manage to have those pick swaps as your own? How are all of those pick swaps not in your favor, not of your choice? That's the thing, if I'm dealing a player so crucial to my system like LaMelo is here, not having all 3 of those swaps being your own choice, that's something I just simply cannot agree with. I'm just not a fan of this at all if I'm Charlotte. Just when I thought I could believe and trust the new regime that the Hornets have had, because they've done a tremendous job so far. You drafted Sion James, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Knebel, you hired Coach Lee, you had your best season in years, and now you're taking this big swing risk? Yeah, I mean, this is quite a deal for the Timberwolves. I mean, we all were wondering what Tim Connolly was cooking when he made that Randle trade. I say he cooked up a quality trade on the menu right here, so yeah, Timberwolves fans, Hornets fans, any NBA fans actually, just let me know what you think of the transaction in the comments down below. I still can't believe it. Like, I know it was reported last night, but I mean, LaMelo was such an important factor. You know the whole spiel, so yeah, let me know what you guys think. There's more to come. I'll come back with an update video because I know this was suddenly out of the blue, out of the water, but NBA offseason is already off to a crazy start, and I'll see you next time.